welcome to another brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. As you can see, the corn harvest is continuing. I hope you're all well and safe and having a good time. My day not going so bad today, thank you very much. So yeah, as I say, we're continuing the corn harvest today. We should hopefully get this one done in this episode, and then we might, if we're lucky, get the soybeans started. We definitely won't get that harvested this episode because there is just way too much to do. But at least we can get a cracking go at it. That's a unique way of saying at least we can get it started. I think I turned northern then. We're going to have a cracking goal. Aye, lad. Aye. A cracking goal, lad. Aye. Anyway. Excuse my silliness. But yeah, so as I say, this has been going pretty well actually. I quite like this machine. This machine is a bit better at it than the other one. The other one was a bit temperamental. You remember the other one, of course, because it was attached to the actual front of a John Deere A, and it had this unique sort of bug where it would be travelling along really nicely. You'd stop it, you'd turn it round to go back, obviously the other way, and then it would only do 2 miles an hour, and then it wouldn't budge then until you got to the other end, and you sort of kind of come in the other way. So it was a nice mod, and it was nice obviously to use it, but yeah, it was a little bit temperamental. But like I say, we've got to get those soybeans off on the dairy farm quickly, and our field, to be fair, because that field where our soybeans is, that is also coming wheat this year. We're going to grow more wheat. I'm hoping to get a little bit more land as well. That's another thing that I want. I want to get some more fields. I want to get that one that we can see just there. There's one at the other end as well, a little bit further down the road, that I'd like to get. That's got soybeans in it at the moment, so it'd be great if we could buy that now. Because then obviously we could get the soybeans off there too, and hopefully put them into storage, wait until the price is good, and then get selling. It might even be that the price is okay from the field, which would be, sort of even better in a way. I quite like the old-fashioned harvest, I really do. The only one frustrating thing is with the pull behind harvest is you have to go round and round, because I am so desperate to keep going up and down, because it's just so much faster. But we have to keep sort of going round and round and round, and obviously that, because the breeds are getting shorter, that is now making it so that we're spending a lot of the time turning as opposed to cutting, which is frustrating, because as I say, we've really got a lot going on, and as we go through the years, we're going to get even more going on, because the dairy's going to get another field or two, so their work's going to increase, our work's going to increase. It may well be that we'll have to take on an employee on Harry's farm. And the only thing we've taken an employer on Harry's farm is that we will have to find work for him all year round, and that may well be difficult, just because obviously our work really stops in sort of November time, and what do I give him to do? I know we could take on someone part-time, but I'm sort of getting into the habit now on any sort of save that I'm playing, that if I use a hired worker, that's a worker that I've just hired, and I've now got to find him work all year round, rather than just, you can do this bit, right, bye. Sort of trying to get a little bit more sort of realistic, if you like, but yeah, it's not easy always, because it does make you think about hiring them. It's a bit like on sort of some of the simulator games that you see. you know, where people are sort of, you know, doing, I don't know, like laundry simulator or something like that, and they hire a worker to, you know, sort of put the washing in the washing machine, but as soon as the day finishes, firing the person and saying, you know, well, I'll hire you again tomorrow. You know, that's I don't know, that just it works for those games because that's how, you know, sort of they're designed. And but when you take them on those games, of course, they're now your employee, and they will now, you know, do the same jobs every day, until you sort of kind of in a way say otherwise. And I kind of like farming sim to be a bit like that now, if I can, where you know, where we take someone on, but if we've, you know, we'll have to find them work for ourselves. So I'm a little bit reluctant just because I don't really have the work at the moment. But it is coming, that is for sure. You know, it definitely is getting to the point where we are starting to, you know, get the work, you know, where we could take someone on full time. I mean, in terms of real life, I mean, the dairy had, I think it was about 4 or 5 people work for it anyway. It had one dedicated herdsman, that worked with the cows sort of every day, you know, as I say, dedicated, and then the rest were tractor drivers, you know, and they, you know, would carry out the work on the farm. So, you know, the harvesting, the ploughing, the, you know, whatever basically needed doing really. And you know, so they do have the workers that we can sort of utilize, if you like. And we know when we are drilling and stuff like that, you know, I do have workers on course play and stuff, helping out and cultivating or rolling or, you know, whatever it is, because otherwise I just would never get all of the work finished. And having the workers on the dairy actually does really help, because like I say, not only can they cultivate, roll and all of that good stuff, but it allows me to kind of, oh, they're rolling, so right, that's it, I'm going to go off now and I'm going to do, you know, sort of either drilling on here or ploughing on here. I mean, this needs ploughing, you know, the soybean field's going to need ploughing. So if in case you're wondering why I plough every field every time, farming sim for me has this, and it's not a bug, it's built into the game, but for me, as someone who's worked on a real life farm, this is a bit of an anomaly, bit of a bug, bit of a sort of cheat get out clause. So if I plough every year, I don't get no weeds, which means I don't have to spend any money on herbicide or anything like that. So it has that benefit. The other reason why I do it is because it was my job and I love ploughing. You know, one of the main reasons why I took the job on the second farm was because I was told, you know, you are going to become the farm's ploughman, and that was the reason why I did it. You know, why I took the job, because I love ploughing. You know, it's you know, sort of 3 jobs on the farm that I really liked were ploughing, drilling, and combining. Now I didn't get to drive the combine sort of all that often, if you like. Oh, but you know, at some point in each harvest, I would be driving, you know, one of the 3 combines. The first 2 combines had dedicated drivers; they were their combines, and they had to look after them. But the third combine that we had was kind of, you know, I've said before, floating combine in the sense that any one of us could drive it that wasn't, you know, sort of normally on the combines. And you know, we were trained up and we were, you know, sort of there to be able to use the combine as and when was necessary. You know, due to the fact that, you know, we may be getting behind, or I mean, you know, not only that as well, but that's going to have gone through the other side, isn't it? Darn it. Right, everybody just look away while I check. Ah, god damn it. Excuse my blasphemous, but that is annoying. and that's why these sheds are coming down. Not so much on Harry's farm yet, but on the dairy, because in the mid 1950s they did have a complete farm sort of refit. They got the decorators in and they changed quite a few things. So we're kind of going to do that as well. So the weeds there are because I didn't plough up to the edge, because I created a field, because this was a grass field, you remember, and I ploughed it, but for whatever reason I didn't plough right to the edge, and then I put the big grass border in. Now the reason I did the big grass border was because it was a little bit unrealistic of me sort of kind of having to go in the field and then sort of kind of round the headland on the inside of the field, to get the breed cut so that I could then go around the outside of the field. It was a little bit, I didn't like doing it that way, because that's just the way you wouldn't do it in real life. So it sort of kind of annoyed me. So in this field I made sure that I put a big headland in, a big sort of grass area, so that we could drive around the outside of the field. I've got a feeling I missed a little bit there, but yeah, I did. We will get it. We won't leave. No corn will be left behind. Can't afford to leave it behind, to be fair. I know we've got a lot of money at the moment, but that's because we've just sold all our wheat. And we did get quite a bit of wheat, and I didn't realise as well, but when I was selling the wheat, I had last year's soya beans in the bin as well, so I sold them as well, because I think they were like $1 below their top price. And I just thought, you know what, just sell them, get rid of them, because we're going to have this year's coming in. So let's clear a space in the bin. I would like to eventually get a second bin, and the reason why eventually I would like to, we have got the money now, to be fair, and the reason why I want a second bin is because you wouldn't put wheat and soya beans in the same bin. That you just wouldn't do that. You couldn't do that. You could do that. You could mix them if you wanted to, but you'd be out your bloody mind, Captain. You just wouldn't do it. So to get a second bin, so that we can have one dedicated to soybeans, one dedicated to wheat, and we'll go from there. As I say, I would like to maybe introduce cotton onto the farm as well, because I would, I'd like I say, it's just one of those crops I've never used. Same with sugarcane. It's just one of those crops I've never ever used and played with on FS. It's been in the game now for what, three different sort of iterations of the game, and I've just never used it. I've just, and I've kind of like got to the point where I'm like, oh, I'd like to do it. Like when I've been doing sort of like factory saves, where I've been doing productions to make the t-shirts and stuff, I've always been using wool. I just tend to buy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sheep to provide me with the wool that I need, rather than growing cotton bales, or rather than growing cotton, and sort of doing it that way. So it's something that I would like to do. It's not entirely in keeping with what was going on the two farms back in the day, but like I've said before, I'm gonna keep it as near to life as I can, but it is a computer game, and I also do have to try and make these videos interesting and different every time. And so there are a few things that I will be doing that wouldn't be done certainly on Harry and the Dairies farm. And one job in particular, which I did ask everyone how they felt about it, and no one replied in the comments, so I've kind of taken that as everyone's gone, yeah, that's okay, I can let you off that, that's fine. So we will be doing that over winter. If you can't remember what it is, or you want to know what it is, what I asked, go back a couple of episodes and watch all the episodes, then hit the subscribe button, then the thumbs up button, and everyone's a winner, baby. But yeah, so and I was really pleased as well the other day that YouTube have now invited me onto their monetization partner program, so I was really pleased about that, and that will be set up in due course. and yeah, as I say, we'll be hopefully taking advantage of that, and maybe making a few pennies, which will help, because I'm trying to put it towards, at the moment, any money that I get from YouTube will go towards my new PC and different software and stuff to try and improve my videos. Me on a personal level, was saving from a computer, but I'm now saving to try and pay solicitors so that I can actually get to see my son again, because well, not to go into too many details, but some things happened, and the next day after it became apparent that he wasn't going to be brought back to me, because he was in my care at the time, and he wasn't going to be brought back to me, and I felt that child services had screwed me. I felt like his mother had screwed me. I just felt like everyone had kind of used me for their own personal gain, and then when everyone had kind of got fed up with that, they all went, screw you. And because I then ended up sending an email, which I regret now, and I don't normally, if I want to like do an instant reaction to something, I kind of go off and shout it to a wall or a mirror or whatever, and sort of bring myself down and calm myself down, and then think, right, that's not the right thing to do, this is the right thing we need to do. And on this one occasion I haven't done it, and I haven't seen my son since, and so I've got, the thing is, it would be simple just to message his mum and say, can I see Thomas again? But I'm not going to get a response. I'm going to get what I sort of said. I wasn't nasty or anything like that to anybody. I wasn't verbally abusive or anything like that. I just said a few home truths, and they were the truths. It can't be denied by anybody. Of course, that I think is going to end up sort of, well, it has at the moment cost me, because I really want to see him again. But it's not just as straightforward as going to his mum and saying, hey, can I see Thomas for a couple of hours, at the weekend or whatever. So I'm myself, I'm sort of trying to pay for solicitors, and I'm on benefits. I mean, I don't hide that fact. I can't work, because of my heart condition and that. And the sort of solicitors want 500 quid to send a letter, which is just astronomical, because I could send just as good a letter as what they could. The only thing is if I send the letter, no one replies to it. If they send the letter, then something will get done about it, so I need them to send the letter. But yeah, so as I say, any money raised from YouTube will go onto the new computer and the new software and stuff like that, and any money, as I say, that I've kind of got, I'm trying to get to see my son again, which would be absolutely fantastic, because I really am missing him. I was fortunate enough the other day to see him, and honestly, for the rest of the day I was just so because I wanted to see him, and it'd be really great to see him again and to have regular contact again, because we all say things that we don't mean. We all say things when we're reacting to something rather than thinking about it and do stuff like that. It's just that, how it feels to me is it's okay for his mum to do that, but it's not okay for me to do that. His mum can react in any way, shape or form, can do anything, can say anything, whatever, but I can't. And as I say, like, it's been a really well, excuse my French, but it's been a really shit time just lately, as I say, because I've obviously not got to see him, and I'm the one that's lost out. Anyway, that's enough of that. It's got nothing to do with this series, but I wanted to get that off my chest. And I don't really have a friend or anyone that I can kind of get that off my chest to, so it gets it gets broadcast over YouTube, which I know it shouldn't. I do know it shouldn't, but sometimes you just need that vent. You just need that outward kind of, I've got to say this, because if I can say it and say it out loud, I can go, yeah, actually I'm doing the right things, you know, what have you. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over to some time lapse. We'll get this field finished, and then what will happen is the time lapse sort of you won't notice, but I'll then get the it will go from being on that machine to suddenly we'll be combining soybeans, because the trip in between does take a long time, and you know, I'm sort of trying to cut out all of the kind of, you don't need to see this because we've done this trip 9 million times and what have you. So then I'll just be, as I say, at the field, and we'll be combining the soybeans. But we've got a lot of corn in this shed now, and the dairy's obviously got the same as well, you know, in their shed. So we've got quite a lot of this. I won't tip it no more down that side. I'm really annoyed that's gone through there, but what can you do? Like I say, these sheds don't have tip collisions. I do know how to put them in, but it would be a waste of time because I am going to get rid of these sheds. You know, I am going to get rid of them, so it would be a waste of time for me to go into Giants Editor and sort that out. You know, because as I say, I'm going to get rid of them and have some slightly more appropriate sheds. And plus as well, anyway, I want to stop tipping on the floor because as far as I understand, and I may be wrong, and if I am wrong, tell me I'm wrong. You know, I've got no problems with being told I'm wrong. Just as long as, you know, you sort of say you're wrong because this is how they do it, and this, you know, I don't mind being criticised, but at least, you know, or wrong, or told I'm wrong, but at least tell me the right way to do it, or tell me what I'm doing wrong, and then, you know, I can put it right, like, you know. But I got a feeling in America they don't tend to tip in stores the same as what we do in this country. You know, and this country is gradually being phased out. A lot more farms are getting bins and you know, silos and stuff like that now. You know, certainly the second farm that I worked on is now completely over to the bin and silo system. But when I worked there, it was kind of half and half. It hadn't been fully implemented. So some of our crops, like our rapeseed and stuff like that, we were tipping in sheds, and then our wheats, our barleys, our oats, wheat, barley, oats. There was another crop that we put in there. I can't think what it was. I can't think what it was, but anyway, they would go into the grain pits and then into the silos, and then, you know, we'd be able to load them with a spout that hangs outside the shed, and the lorry literally just drives underneath, and we load the lorry like that. It's so much easier, it's so much faster, and more importantly, it's so much more safer. Because a couple of times when I was loading lorries, loading wheat into lorries from grain sheds, you know, if you don't realise that the driver's got out and is having a bit of a wander around, I'm not looking for him, because you're told when you come onto site, stay in your lorry, but a lot of the lorry drivers don't stay in their lorries. They get out and have a wander or whatever, and a couple of times, I mean, I didn't hit no one, but a couple of times I very nearly did hit the drivers, and it was amazing, you know, that they had gone against the rules that are on our grain shed doors. So on the walls there was big signs saying, drivers, please remain in your cabs or vehicles or whatever. But yeah, you nearly killed one of them, and suddenly it becomes your fault, not their fault, that they're disobeying, you know, the rules of the farm, if you like. So so in the end, what we did was we when we were loading lorries, if we saw the driver get out, we would get out of the teleporter, or telehandler, or whatever you call them. I call them teleporters, but I do realise a lot of people call them telehandlers, and I've missed all that. You would get out and you'd just go off and do something else, and then the lorry driver would be chasing you across the yard saying, you know, where you going, what you doing, and you say, you got out, mate, I ain't loading you while you're out of your lorry. And then usually they're like, oh, okay, I'll get back in. It's like, it's too late now, mate. I'm going to go off and do that. I've got lots of other stuff to do. I can't be hanging around waiting for you all day. Cause, essentially, that's what they would tell us if we were loading slow. They'd be like, come on, mate, I can't hang around for you all day. I've got deliveries to make. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, so in the end, the farm kind of the management kind of instructed us and said, our own lorry drivers would stay in their cabs. They would understand, or they would load their own lorries. But if we were having sort of lorry firms come in and helping, if we were shipping, several thousand tons of wheat or whatever in one go, then we only had 2 lorries on the farm. So, that they would do that. But yeah, so. Lorry drivers don't like it when you turn around and say, that's fair enough, you get out your lorry as much as you like, mate, because I ain't going to be loading you no more. And the thing was, over time, lorry drivers learn when they come back to the farm to just stay in the cab, otherwise we're going to make them late. And the farm agreed that that's what we should do. And they say the management all said, absolutely, you do it, fully support you 100%. And just leave them to it. Just leave it there. We did have one lorry driver that did then hijack the bloody the telehandler and try and load the lorry himself. So then what we had to do was, if we were going to do that, if a lorry driver got out, we had to then take the keys with us so they couldn't drive the telehandler, because we couldn't actually get him out of it until he'd loaded his own lorry. That didn't happen with me, but that did happen on the farm. But as I say, I wasn't loading at the time. Loading was a job that I would tend to get in the winter months. If the rest of the farm were doing potatoes and they were bagging up or whatever, and it was quite heavy work, then I would be on sort of lorry loading duties and levelling bins and sort of jobs like that, jobs that I could physically do. So there was always sort of the farm were really good. The second farm were really good. The first farm, not so good. Yes, they knew that I had that I had a heart condition, but they were kind of like, well, you're here on a farm and you'll do the work we do. Whereas the second farm, when I sort of said to them, and they went, oh, no problem, we'll just find you stuff that you can do. It's not an issue, and it was never an issue for them, and for the workers. They were like, if I was doing something and they could see I was struggling, they were like, oh mate, get out of the way, I'll soon do this for you, I'll have this done in no time. And teamwork, and that's the big thing with the second farm. Teamwork. Everything was teamwork, everything was team orientated. If stuff needed doing, if stuff needed sort of sorting out or whatever, then that was what happened. It was a case of my teammates or my work colleagues would say, that's all right, we'll do that, don't worry. Or if I was given a job by the farm manager and one of the lads heard and thought that might be a little bit much, as long as they weren't exceptionally busy themselves, they'd be like, I'll come with you and give you a hand. So I really couldn't fault it. As I say, it was just a shame in the end that things went really wrong and in terms of my heart, and I had to stop. But I don't like sort of saying, oh, I'm on benefits and I'm not working, because obviously that people have an opinion of that, and there's a lot of people out there that don't like people like me. The thing was, after I had to give up the farm because I physically couldn't manage, I did try quite a few other jobs after that I thought I might be able to manage so that I could stay at work. Because the thing is, and I know this is not true for everyone, I realise this isn't true for everyone, but for me, I wanted to go out, I wanted to go to work, I wanted to, we're a sort of working class, hard working class family, and I wanted to carry that on, and I wanted to do my bit. At the time I had a girlfriend. At the time, she was pregnant with our son. I wanted to support her. I wanted to do the normal manly things, and then sort of that day, in the hospital when, you've had an operation and your surgeon, sort of says to you, look, from this day forth, you need to take life easy. You really need to take life easy. You need to, just relax and just, they said, like, try and find a hobby or something, and I didn't even realise they'd done it, but they'd written a letter and basically medically retired me from doing any physical activity, or physical work, and that's kind of how it's been ever since. As I say, I've most days I'm sort of roughly okay, but there are some days when I just sitting in my chair makes me tired and out of breath and what have you. So it's not a case of it's a cushy life, because yes, I don't have to go to work every day, but I do have the symptoms to put up with every day. But anyway, so the time lapse for the end of that corn bit didn't happen. I don't know if you noticed. But what I will do is probably actually is end this episode here, and then I need to take that back, but I need to drop the trailer off. Is end this episode here, and then in the next episode we can have a really good sort of episode where we really crack on with them soybeans. We'll do the soybeans in the dairy field first, and then we'll do ours. So it's this field to the left, and then but that's been harvested by the looks of things now. But this field on the left also, just up here where the soybeans are, I'd quite like to I think actually that folds in. I'd quite like to get hold of that field before it harvests the soybeans, and then that will add a bit more soybeans to Harry's farm, and that will be a field for Harry and his farm, although riding alongside it's quite a big field, to be fair. But I think Harry should concentrate all the fields to the left and in front of his farm, and the dairy should concentrate on all the fields in and around their farm, sort of thing. But yeah, so as I say, I'm going to get this back to there. Thanks ever so much for watching. I really enjoyed having your company. If you think it's been worthwhile listen, hit the like button, and if you think I'm a worthwhile listen and watch, then hit that subscribe button. But otherwise, thanks ever so much for watching. I've really enjoyed having your company. I can't wait to see you again on the next one. Bye for now.